Welcome to our virtual flower arranging workshop. I am Natalie at the Wild Folk Florist. The equipment that you'll be using today included is a pin holder and a piece of chicken wire, a piece of string and your bucket of flowers. You will also need another bucket with cold water in and a smaller jar with water in. A pair of sharp scissors, doesn't have to be floristry scissors, but if you enjoy this you might want to buy a pair of floristry scissors. And then later on you'll need some kind of vase when it comes to using the chicken wire, and possibly a small bowl. In your flower arranging bucket you've got a selection of wild flowers and British grown flowers. You will have different shapes, so you'll have spire shapes, so they are tall, spiry ones, and that might come in the form of grasses. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be in each bunch because each bucket will have its own personality, but you'll all have some spiry shapes. You'll all have some filler. So this is Dorcas Carrot, this is Alchemilla mollis. You will have some greenery, ivy, sage, and then you'll have round focal flowers. So these are peonies, but you will have roses or dahlias. So in any bouquet or flower arrangement, it's a good idea to have a nice spread of shapes. When it comes to cutting your own buckets, if you want to practice the things that we've learnt today, make sure that you cut your flowers first thing in the morning or last thing at night, and keep them somewhere cold and dark overnight or all day to let the stem soak up as much water as possible. Your bucket will have been in those conditions for 24 hours, but when you get them, I have left them as they would have been, as if you just picked them. So you still need to prepare your flowers for flower arranging. When you make a bouquet, which is the first thing that we're going to make, you are going to have a point in your left hand here where you're going to hold all the stems. So you need everything below that point to be clean and clear. One, because if you have any leaves sitting in the water, they decay and that will shorten the vase life of your flowers. And two, you don't really want any leaves in here and in here because it will become quite difficult to work with. So I'm actually going to move that lower leaf there. Now when you've stripped the flower, pop it in the second bucket. Peonies, I'm going to leave this little bud on here, but I'm going to take away that leaf. You might also want to re-snip the stem. I think I actually snipped this only an hour ago, but just to show you, you want to snip at a 45-degree angle so as much water as possible can travel up the stem. You'll need to do that with everything that's in your bucket. Some of the things I might have done for you already, just out of habit, but some of the things I definitely haven't. So let's just have a look at what I definitely haven't. Okay. Just pulling off all the leaves. So I'm just working through my flower arranger's bucket. Now on big bits like this, anything something that's going to be below the pinch point that is of an okay size, so I might be able to use that for something, I put that in the small jar of water. So if I'm doing a wedding, I quite often make up some of the bouquets first and put the smaller snips in the jar, and then I make buttonholes out of what's left in the jar. I should at this point mention I've got a nice glass of fizz here, so remember to have a drink. And I've also got really chronic hay fever tonight. I don't know if anyone else suffers with hay fever, but in the evening it's pretty bad, so excuse my sniffing. Okay, so I'm going to leave you there to go and prepare all your own bits and bobs, and you should have a bucket of things that you've prepared and a jar of smaller blooms ready to go. So you'll have your bucket of prepared flowers here, your jar of prepared flowers here, and with the empty bucket you can sweep all of the clippings into. They can go straight onto the compost heap because all the flowers are grown without chemicals, and yeah, it's just super easy to do it that way. You will still have to sweep up afterwards, so do not do this activity in a room with carpet. Okay, ready to start. Putting these to one side, that's for later. Bring this over here. Now, when you start, you are feeding everything into your left hand. You're making this kind of hold, and the muscles here do ache, especially the first couple of times that you do this. I always find that if I'm doing a wedding, by the end of the weekend or the day that I've been preparing flowers, this hand really hurts, and actually this muscle up here hurts as well from holding up the flowers. So if this action is unusual and feels weird, that's to be expected because it takes time to kind of build up that working memory in your arm. Again, the technique that I'm going to show you for doing a hand-tied bouquet takes a lot of practice. So at any point, pause the video, put everything down, start again, and you may find that you want to cut flowers from your garden in the future or pick them up from a grower and do this video again until you feel like you've got the skills that you need, because it takes practice. Okay, so starting off with putting this in here, this bud is in the way, so I need to chop that off. Put that in my little jar. So I'm going to start with a nice clump in the middle. I want to pick a focal flower, a filler, and I'm just slotting it into my hand like so. A spire. Now this leaf is in the way, can you see? It's going to make other things going into my hand really difficult. So I'm going to pull that off. While I'm here, I might as well take that other bud off as well. Okay, so I'm going to put this into here, and then this into here. So I'm essentially making something that looks pretty all on its own, like a mini arrangement. Got filler, focal flower, some nice greens there, and a spire. So I have that in my hand, and then with the right hand I'm going to turn it and hold it like that. Now the reason for doing that is to keep all the blooms nice and tight, but also you'll end up getting a nice spiral at the bottom of your hand tied. So I'm now going to pick up another filler, and I'm going to slot it into my hand. A taller spire, slot it in, green. Switch it in, and other hand, turn it. Okay. Right, now I'm going to go for some of this nice carrot. Put that in. Another sweet billion. Now, when I'm making the mini clumps like this, I want to be careful that I don't have two colours touching each other necessarily. I like to spread out the colours. So I'm going to take that one away and put in an ever so slightly different colour. There we go. Right, and then turn it. Great. So you can see the centre of the bunch is coming together. Now, you need to make sure that the focal flowers, the peonies, are nicely distributed. So I've got one on that side. So I'm going to start with putting one in here. Now this is going to be in the way. Put it down. So hand is there. Flower goes in. Picking another spire. Actually, I've got one there, so I don't want that to be too close together. Pick a different type of spire. Maybe I'll go for this bright green one. That goes in there. Can you see the hand here? This action here is quite uncomfortable. It takes a while to build up the ease of that feeling. Okay, just continuing to feed in the flowers into that left hand. Oh, I've got this nice big borage that I want to use. Feed that in, that's a big one. And twist. Right, at this stage, it's all looking quite flat. So I'm going to pull out this peony. There we go. Now, the reason why I've done that is just so that it's not like a big clump. I like things poking out and giving it depth. Right, so twisted it. And these leaves might be in the way. No, they're okay. This is too low down. Pull him up a bit. Right, and more. Okay, so there. That's going to be difficult to use, so I'm going to cut that off. Okay, feed that in. And feed that in. Twist. Okay, so over here I can now put in another peony. Into the left hand, it's getting quite big now. It's becoming more like a fist rather than just thumb and forefinger. Feed this in. Now, I can't put this here because that's too close together. So I will use one of these. Twist. This one. Now that looks like there's quite a lot of this in the same place. There's one there, so I'll put that over there. I'll wait to use that one, but I can come back to this blue delphinium. That one's over there, so this one will be perfect here. Go one. Two. And we can see from all the twisting that there's a nice spiral shape appearing. Give that spent bloom at the top. And let's go around this side. That's going to look a little bit strange there because that's there, they're too similar in shape. I really need this over there, so I'll do that in a minute. I can go back to that carrot. No, I put the carrot in already. I think I will try and use this. Now that's quite an awkward piece. It's got many stems at the bottom, so I'll put that in at the very, very end. Sweet William. Grass. And twist. Right, now peony. Now actually this little yarrow that I put in is too short. It's getting lost, so I'll put it in there for later. Twist. Looking good, right? That's my husband filming, by the way. Okay. Now, I can come back to this one. It's not too close to the borage, it's on the other side. Sweet, okay. Bit of greenery. And twist. Oh. Peony going in there. Greenery. Maybe this one's long enough. Let's see what happens. Yeah, just long enough. Bit of green there. Carrot. Okay, twist. Right, let's pull this peony up a bit. That's pretty. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peonies in there. And last few tweaks. Grass. Right now I can add the weird bits that are slightly awkward because their shape points. Oh no, this is on the table. I can't leave that out. Hold on. Okay, so I'm actually going to move this peony because there's too many of them close together here. I want that over there. So I'm just going to twist it round and go back to the, there we go. Okay. There we go, that's better. And then I can put this in here. Nope. In here. really pretty, but it points outwards like that. So I can put that on the edge of the bouquet. And then my last thing I'm going to add. Be this here. I'm not sure about that actually. Cut it into smaller bits. Work. Yeah, that's pretty. 1, 2. There we go. Right, so first one. And then, now at this stage, it's really helpful when you're learning to find a mirror to have a look at what you've made so that you can check the distribution yourself. I think that's looking good. I might just put this one thing in there. Now this bouquet worked, but quite often I find that, especially if it's a wedding and I'm nervous or it's the first order of the week, I usually have to put everything down and start again. So don't worry if you've done that 3 or 4 times, it doesn't matter. Just keep going, stay calm, try and enjoy it. And then when you get to this stage and you're feeling happy, the bouquet is in a lovely swirl. Don't worry if yours isn't in a swirl. You can practice to try and get it into a swirl. Okay, it can all fall apart at this stage. Get your string, wrap it around the back of the bouquet. Like so. Now tie it in a knot, like this. It is very fiddly. So at this stage, you need to lie the bouquet down on the table. Okay, so don't tie it too tight. I've snapped stems of flowers before, so just do a loose-ish knot, and that will hold the arrangement in the vase for you. So last bit, you need to now snip it all at the same-ish length. Try and do it at a 45-degree angle. Now this stage can sometimes be like when you're doing a haircut, which I'm sure many of you have been doing during lockdown, and you get a little bit carried away and you want it all to look even. It doesn't have to be even. If you don't stop yourself, you'll end up cutting the stems up to there. It's just so that they can sit in water at roughly the same height. Okay, that's your hand tied. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to use chicken wire to arrange into a container. This is super useful if you want to make a small bowl of flowers for the centre of a table, or you want to have a mantelpiece arrangement in your home. It's also really great if you don't have a lot of flowers, you've just got snippets like this, and you want to make something nice. You don't necessarily expect it to last for a long time, but it's brilliant for a quick arrangement. So here's your piece of chicken wire. Now these are the types of things that I arrange into with chicken wire. Be wary that the chicken wire will scratch the inside of your vase, so use something that you're not that precious about. I'm going to use this one here. Now you want to scrunch up your chicken wire and have the sharp bits pointed in, just so you don't jab yourself too much. Stretch it into your container, like so. The idea being that you've got several layers that you can poke stems through. Now you want to be able to pick up your container and the chicken wire not fall out. If you can't manage to do that for whatever reason, you could tie a piece of string over the top to hold it in place, or some tape. Okay, so fill the vase with water. Now you will be arranging into this vessel with the things that are left in your bucket. Now when you're making an arrangement of this type, it's nice for your eye to go on a journey from the bottom of your arrangement to the top. So work on the shape that you want to create first. This is slightly dangly. So this will work like this, and then this is quite tall. And we'll work up there. Now when you're working with chicken wire, the stems have a bit of a mind of their own and you have to work with them. So this one keeps wanting to move, its stem is quite bendy. So find a place that you're happy with, and if you can't get it to do what you want to do, what you want it to do, just give up. Pick a different thing. I'm going to try one more time. Nope, not doing it. I want it to come, point upwards. Up like that. Let's try this one. Much better. This is still useful though. Okay, so the idea with this type of arrangement is to create a natural flow, and I don't want things touching each other. I don't want it to look too crowded, so I'm going to snip that off. This is a nice tallish bit, it can go over there. Ah, actually, this has got a nice dangle, so this would look better on the dangly side. Okay, so I've got some light green over there. Okay, so I've made this mantelpiece arrangement just with the leftover wildflowers. I think definitely it would benefit from one or two, not two, one or three focal flowers in here. If you want to reuse some of the flowers from your bouquet when practicing this, then do. But yeah, happy with that. The shape goes from there to there in a pleasing journey. So another technique that you can use is a pin holder. You can put your pin holder in a little bowl of water like this. You can pour the water in, and then you can arrange just with a few stems. Now this is really sweet if you have just a few things that you've cut from the garden. And you want to make a little table arrangement or bedside table sort of thing. And you can have it with a few stems, which is a technique called ikebana. Not really a technique, a flower school ikebana, which would be like this. Every single stem has got its own movement. Or you can build it up.
No, you need to look down the lens more.
Or you can build it up and have it like a mini bowl arrangement for your table. And have things coming over the edge.
Say that whilst looking at me. And have things come over the edge. Bend
Okay.
over and say it like you're doing it.
Okay. So you can build it up
You need to look down the lens.
around the edges of the bowl.
Sorry, start from the beginning because I talked over you. Build it up.
Okay, so you can build up your bowl and you can have things dangling over the edge so that you have a nice filled looking bowl arrangement. So there, and then you can spin it round and do the back. And this is super sweet in the middle of your table. Again, try and stick to the same principles that you had in your bouquet. Threes of things are great, nice balance of colour, flower, texture. You want some spires, you want some rounder blooms as your focal point. And constantly spinning it and turning. And checking how things look. How's that looking? So this works really well if you're having, if you've got a round table at a dinner party or a reception or something. It's quite easy to pull these bits together. It takes a long time to sort of look at it and feel like you've got it right and you've got a nice balance between shapes and things hanging over the edge. But with water, this should last for at least a day, so you can make these up the day before. So for large scale arrangements, quite often you can place the pin holder inside a big vessel. These come in lots and lots of different sizes. Then you can have the chicken wire over the top and you can scale up your designs. And yeah, that's basically the basics of flower arranging. You've used a pin holder, chicken wire and a hand-tied bouquet. Everything you've used has been eco-friendly. And I hope that you have learnt techniques today that you can practice. Please send me photos or tag me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever so that I can see what you've been up to. And if you have any questions, please email me or send me an Instagram.